are suffering from COVID-19, the hoax. And I just want to say that, I hope they survive it. I don't want to see them pass away, and I don't want to see anyone die from it. That's a terrible thing, and so I just want him to lose the election, not his life. So I hope we should send good thoughts and positive thoughts that there's a recovery, and that everyone who's dealing with this, not just our president and our first lady and all the people they infected, but the whole country recover. Everybody that's suffering from this recover. So my good thoughts to everyone out there, and my prayers for everyone who's suffering from that terrible disease. And so then we can move on now. We can still make fun of him, because just because he's sick don't mean he's right. Right? No, I'm just kidding. That's bad, huh, Henry?
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, I just about got everything. This new Facebook, you have to go through these other processes.
Oh, it's a lot of stuff. And
yes, it's like all this extra stuff that you got to do.
We have to think. Okay, Delta Dawn is on now. Now it's rolling. Good. All right, here we go. How to screw up a radio show in 5 easy steps. Let's see. Eat a gummy from Starbuds. Go to work.
Let's not messing it up if you're going with the gummy, and the gummy is okay. It's closing.
There's Balls. He's got a message for us. He says, listening to the roar. Women. Yep. And then Sue Weaver said, hi, Rhonda. Look at Henry's back. I think those of you that know me, I told you that Henry had a little health issue, but he's back.
A little health issue?
Well, I didn't want to be the one blabbing it on radio. If you would.
We kept it pretty private. Did you notice that?
Oh, no, I just ruined it. Oops. He had a little health issue. He couldn't get it up anymore. He had to go get some Viagra. No,
that's what killed me.
It killed him. Gave him a heart attack. I'm bad.
No, it's real.
Oh, that's real.
I went to go see Alice, and she was pretty down, and it, bing, 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 bing.
That was it.
That was it.
God. I'm just glad you're back. And
yeah,
you're doing well.
It's crazy, and it's like it catches you off guard. It's the least time but I had a little tiny one. And I knew I had it, and I got a hold of the doctors. I was supposed to go in that Wednesday, and then I postponed it to the following Wednesday, and that weekend I had it.
We can't see your pretty face.
I had it that weekend. It's like it was crazy.
Well, I know, and I
shouldn't have postponed it from the doctors.
Well, and you're in good shape. You run and you work out, and
yeah.
and you eat pretty good.
And that's what they said. What saved
your life.
It saved my life. And well, I owe it to my wife too. She saved my life. Because when I'm
really surprised at that.
I know, let me tell you.
I said, Henry, is it hurt? Just see if it's. Just wait a minute.
Yeah.
Just wait a little bit.
So I staggered to the bathroom. I threw water on my face, and I fell backwards towards the bed, but I fell toward her legs, right?
Yeah.
I grabbed her legs, was really shaking, and she thought I was kinky sex again. She kept kicking me. No, she didn't. She
kept kicking you. Oh my God. No, that's funny. But you poor thing. But anyway, I'm just glad you're back and you're feeling well and you're doing okay. So.
Yes, I'm feeling really good actually. It's like it took me about a week to get like the fog. You have this fogginess about you because of what's happened. I mean, it's a trauma to the body. And then,
love you, Henry, you're okay.
Some balls.
Balls, yeah. You can't call her Lynn. You can call her Lynn if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to call you Lynn. It's like, but, it's like, I got to tell you a story. This is really funny. Okay, so this gal comes in. All the nurses that come in, they all say, Mr. Archuleta, Henry, and all this kind of stuff. So I was okay with all that, But then this one gal comes trudging in there, and she comes up to me and she says, Henry. And it didn't sound right because, all the other nurses says Mr. Archuleta.
And this one says Henry.
Henry Archuleta. And I turn her over to her and I
ex-girlfriend?
Well, I said, if I've ever done anything to you, I'm sorry, I apologize. She couldn't stop laughing.
That'd be bad, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You're a little jerk.
Yeah.
I get to do it. Let me put on those gloves.
Yeah. She was dying laughing. She thought that was so funny. No, it wasn't no ex-girlfriend, but she just knew me. She knew who I was.
Oh, that's funny. That's really funny.
And I thought it was funny. And I started saying that I'm sorry if I did anything wrong before. And so she thought that was so hilarious. But it was really nice there, So they took care of me well.
That's good. That's good.
It was interesting.
Well, there's been a lot going on.
Well, now your prayers, what do you think? I mean, you're going to help him with this. They got some stuff that he was going to try. Has he tried that?
Bleach? Has he tried the bleach?
Well, I knew they had a IV hooked up to him with the bleach bottle upside down.
So
everybody's having these jokes.
I know it's bad, but
he could get some good health care with $750 that he saved on his taxes.
Well, yeah. That's right. Well, you know, it must be wonderful to go in there and sit down and know that not one dime of your taxes, not one dime of your money paid for anything that you're getting help in, like the Walter Reed Hospital. But anyway, you know, I don't want to be too brutal on him today, because I think that we have to have some respect for the fact that he is our president and he is probably fighting for his life. They're not telling us the truth.
You think so?
I don't think they're telling us the truth. No.
I don't think he is. Do you remember?
You think it's fake? I've had people say they think the whole thing is fake and then he's going to come out like he's some kind of risen Christ. You know, I'm okay! I was in for 3 days and I came out.
Yeah, like remember in 1974, Nixon come out and says, I have phlebitis.
Yeah.
Remember the phlebitis thing? And they couldn't impeach him for a while he had phlebitis.
What the hell is that?
I don't know. Remember that? Remember he did that?
Phlebitis.
Yeah. And then Clinton came out and I did not have sex with that woman, but maybe that one and that one and that one, but not that one.
Not that one. That one right there. I skipped her. She's not too cute. Passed her up. The rest of them. Jeez, I know they're all crazy, but I don't want to be too brutal on them today. I want to take a little bit. I mean, I'm not pleased with the fact that Obama was 11 months out of an election, and Mitch McConnell and the Senate refused to let him appoint a judge. 11 months out, 11 months, almost a year before.
They wouldn't allow it.
And now it's going to be weeks, literally, before an election. And of course, the hypocrites in office are like, "Oh no, that didn't count for us. It only counts for him because he was black." You know, that's pretty much it.
What do you think of his nominee?
I think she's a piece of crap.
Yeah, she's going to close all the doors. The other gal opened all up.
Yeah. I mean, I am not in favor of anyone that is
try to repeal
a religious zealot taking those
Affordable
positions.
Care Act, right? They're going to go against Roe versus Wade. How do you do that? Because they know each other and he appointed her? Is that the only reason?
Well, who knows? I mean, he appointed her not because they know each other, and I don't think that she would just do it because President Trump wanted her to. Where I think we're going to see this how it's going to manifest itself is that's her personal belief. And it's very difficult for people to separate personal beliefs, especially if they're zealots, and she's a zealot. So if, from their judgments that they make. And so the problem is that she's already written papers and written legal documents and come out and said she's against these things. Well, you have to be able to consider both sides openly when you're a judge. And so if she's already come out and has a set position, then she's not going to be a fair-minded judge. And so that's, I think, the issue. But more than that, the issue is the fact that they wouldn't allow it when Obama was going. Matter of fact, when in the debate when Trump said, "You guys left 160 seats open and I appointed all those judges, and I can't believe you did that."
They wouldn't allow it, right?
That's because they blocked every judge. They wouldn't allow Obama to place a judge. There was over 200 people blocked, as well as the fact that they blocked the Supreme Court position. So, and now when it comes to them, and you've got them on tape saying, "Oh no, you can't do it during election year. Oh, but that doesn't matter this year. Oh, no, you can't do that. Oh, that doesn't matter." It's only for you. It doesn't count for our side. It only counts for your side.
What do you think is going to be this? You think it's going to manifest into a whole election? We're going to go through it, and then he's going to be voted out, or you think he's going to play on the COVID? And
I don't know how it's going to come out. To be honest with you, I don't know. I think that I don't even know if he'll be voted out. To be honest with you. I think that if it was a fair election, he would be voted out, but I don't think we're going to have a fair election because they've set it up with gerrymandering, they've closed down voting areas, they've screwed up the mail, they've done things to make sure that that people are disenfranchised and can't vote. They've also put a call out to their supporters to show up at polls and poll watch and to guard around the polls when people are coming in and kind of harass people and make sure they have their IDs and things like that. So it's very much a communist tactic, a very much dictatorial tactic that they're putting into play. And it wouldn't surprise me if this COVID thing somehow comes into that as well.
How come everybody just doesn't, when you get your driver's license or turn 18 automatically
just register them right there.
Yeah, they have to just they just register them whether they like it or not.
Well, you can do that in Colorado. You get your license, you want to register to vote too? Yes. Here you go. But yeah, it should be automatic.
Just automatically register everybody.
Well, everybody's got a social security number. Why isn't that their voter number?
That they have to go do.
That's your voter number, and then you vote. And you have to vote in the state that you're a resident of, and that's it.
And even if you vote and you have all the popular vote, they'll still get you with the electoral college.
Well, we got to get rid of electoral college because what it's done is it's allowed a bunch of hillbilly states with 2 representatives to they've got 1/4 of the population and they're controlling the entire country.
That's crazy.
And it's wrong. You see, it was okay when it was rural and everybody was kind of the same, but it's not the same anymore. And you can't have a small majority or a minority of people controlling it because they happen to live in states, because electoral college. it's a fallacy, and it needs to go away.
Yeah, I don't know why they ever invented that or created
Well, they did
that.
it because people couldn't, there was no communication.
Yeah.
So like they'd vote, and then somebody had to take that vote back, right? And so they'd have to ride a horse for like 10 days and get to, okay, I'm here a month later, and here's my vote.
You're still riding.
Yeah, and, and they would ride their horses to Washington and vote, and that's why, and the funny thing about that was, they discovered there was a hell of a lot more horses' asses in Washington than there were actually horses.
Would you like to go back to the day where we rode horses and stuff? I think I would.
I would, I think it'd be fun.
I think it would.
But I would
be
want
fun.
modern toilet, running water, dishwasher.
All the good things.
I want everything but the car. Just the horse is fine, but I want everything else.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? It'd be crazy. Do you think you could live off the land and like have your own pigs, cows, have horses,
Yeah.
and go have
Why
a little
couldn't-
well and stuff? You think
Yeah.
you could live off of it?
Yeah, I could do it.
I think I could.
I might starve because I might have a hard time killing like a pig or something. It would like,
Is your
ooh.
pig pig? Sorry, man, your dinner.
Sorry, Norman, you're gone. But yeah, I think that would be hard.
My mom, I can remember back in the day, we had chickens in our backyard.
Kill the
My
chickens?
My mom would say, yeah, chicken, throw a little bit thing, grab them. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that done.
I used to just like, whoa.
It's like that headless chicken thing in here.
Yeah, and it would go, the chicken would still run around,
Yeah.
no head on it, but it would still have, because.
I've seen that done. I've seen them chop
nerves
the head
and-
off and
yeah.
it runs, and I've seen people kill them by swinging them.
Yes, that's what my mom would do.
Yeah.
Go like this, break their neck, and then chop the head off real quick, and then go and pluck it real fast, and take it inside, and gut it.
I mean,
We got fried chicken, and
I
I
bet you
have.
did. Oh, what do you think of the vice president we have now? So someone asked me a loaded question. I'm not a fan of Pence either, and I'll tell you why I'm not a fan of Pence. Because he's complicit in many of the lies and the race baiting and the things that the president is doing. And as a man of God, which he claims to be, he should be anything but complicit with the things that are going on that are so unchristian that are being promoted by this president. And so I think that his complicity negates the fact that he is a true believer, and negates the fact that he should be acting like someone who has compassion and a heart instead of someone who's there to protect the biggest liar in chief that we've ever had.
You know what we're having tomorrow? And I don't know, we've been keeping on the down low, but we got, just in the last 3 days, by the Biden campaign, and they're coming through tomorrow.
Are they? Are they
Yes.
here?
Yes, so they're gonna
Oh,
do
wow.
it live Zoom because of
Oh,
the
yeah.
COVID and stuff, so. But they're still gonna be carrying it through our network, and we're
Wow,
gonna
that's
have all the
awesome.
big senators.
Yeah.
And some big senators, and they're all listed right there.
Oh,
We
wow.
don't, we can talk about
Let's
it.
see who's going to be here.
Yeah, you're gonna have the likes of Ken Salazar, and some,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
gonna be some heavy-duty people.
Oh, this is great. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to have, wow, oh, it's all the Latino outreach too. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so-
I get all the Latino mails, you know that?
Do you really?
Yeah, I get all the postcards written in Spanish. I think they think because I'm buddies with you that I'm Hispanic, which is fine with me. I'd rather be.
You are, you're always talking Spanish to me. and
I am.
Now I can't bring you no Mexican food because, it's like over for me for eating.
I know. I make good Mexican food though.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah.
I bet you
I make
do.
it really good. I've
I
had
know you
people
do.
tell me that it's pretty darn good.
Awesome.
Yeah. This is wonderful. Oh my goodness. And we're going to have everybody on here.
So on the backside, further down,
Hispanic caucus.
further down
Where is
here,
this? Let's see what's going to be here. Who's
we'll
going to be
have
on?
like Leroy Garcia, Ken Salazar.
Oh yeah, you got them all.
Senator Julie Gonzalez, Cristela Alonso.
Oh yeah, and you've got Lujan, the Mexican congressman. Lujan. Oh, that's
There's gonna be a lot
wonderful.
of congressmen
Oh, that's
and
great.
senators that are gonna be through
That's
here.
wonderful.
So it's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah, I think it would be great.
And so that's gonna happen, so they're gonna be pushing for Biden, but I wanna hear what they have to say tomorrow.
Well, yeah, we got to listen to
The
it.
dialogue is gonna probably be different, don't you think, Rhonda?
Yeah, I think.
Because now,
Well, you can't be really mean to some guy that's fighting for his life in the office. I mean, I'd like to be, but you can't. It's not nice. And although he would, I mean, if the shoe was reversed, I guarantee you he'd be saying all kinds of terrible things about Biden. But what I really think is that we have
well,
to
we
stay
just have to
focused.
stand back and stand.
Stand by, yeah, stand back and stand by.
Tell
Get
me
the Proud
stand.
Boys, we'll go stand with them. But the point is this, that we need to wish them well. As much as that may pain you, as much as you may not like him or stand with him, we need to wish him well, and we need to wish Melania well, and all of the others, even Kellyanne Con Job and all the rest of them, you know, we need
What
to.
did you call it? Kellyanne Con Job.
And all
That is a good one.
all the
I
rest
haven't
of
ever
them,
heard
and
that
I think it
one.
was on Saturday Night Live, I stole it.
Oh,
But
God.
all of the rest of them, we want them to recover.
What do you think they're going to do tonight on Saturday Night?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
It's gotta be hard, because it's really hard to pick on someone if there's that
But
sick.
Saturday Night Live is,
So, I don't know.
can go there.
Yeah, they could probably go there.
They can go there, and they're going to do it,
I mean-
they're not going to be abrasive, but they're going to go
Well,
there. I
let's
know that.
remember that becoming sick, and we want our, make no mistake about it, we want our president to recover. We want the First Lady to recover. We want Kellyanne Con Job and all those other enablers and all those crappy people to recover. Because,
Kellyanne
no, we
Con
do.
Job.
Because if we don't, then we are just like them. We are allowing their hate and their awful stuff to infest us and make us become hate mongers. So I will not do that, and I want them to recover. I don't want them to lose their life. I want them to lose the election, and there's a big difference, you know?
And don't forget, on one of the live streams, we are closed captioned for hearing impaired.
Oh.
So far, I got up to 7 people telling me that.
Oh,
you know,
then Mary Ann might like that, but I can't, or Mary Ellen might like that, but I can't.
but it's not probably on this one, but it's
Oh,
on the
no,
other
it's
one.
not.
On the other one,
I'll
we
tell
do
her
have
that.
closed caption over here.
Let me see if she, because I know she reads lips. Mary, there's closed captioning on
KUHS.
KUHS.denver.com.
Well, not just KUHS on Facebook.
Oh, KUHS on Facebook, it's closed
KUHS Radio
captioned.
TV.
So Facebook, the KUHS one, Facebook has closed captioning. I'm
Yeah.
sorry I'm saying that a couple of times, but Mary reads lips.
Yeah, I meant to tell you
Yeah.
that because there's so many people. We got up to 7, so we started doing closed captioning, so you see how the closed
There it
captioning.
is. That's pretty cool. Okay, so anyway, what I wanted to say is that I do wish them well, and I really mean that. It's not right to wish anyone harm. Now, having said that, just because the man is sick doesn't mean the man's not a dick. Okay.
She always comes out explosive.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
He's terrible. But you know,
Tell us what you thought about the I don't know if you call that a debate. That was just a screaming match.
well, first of all, they should have, knowing the way Trump behaves, and the way he did behave the entire time. There's two things about that. One is that he was usurping and running all over Biden. So Biden had no choice but to continue talking because he was taking up his time. So I don't blame Biden for those interchanges. And I
Oh,
don't,
you shut up, man.
I like that. I mean,
I
personally,
think
the
everybody
man was acting like a child, and there was no way to stop him. Now, the reason it degraded that badly is because the debate people should have put kill switches on the microphones.
That's right.
And they should have said to them, knowing the propensity for Trump to run over, they should have said to both of them, either of you run over, we're
Mhm.
cutting your mic.
That's right.
That's it.
I don't know
After
why
your
they
2
didn't.
minutes, your mics are cut.
Mhm.
And then, you know, you could have put them in like the cone of silence from Maxwell Smart, like that. You know, put each one in there, and then
I
had.
can't believe you remembered that.
And those, you know, those
Yeah.
machines that they used to put people in that were
Yes.
like soundproof for like
Yes.
name that tune. They should have put them in 2 boxes like that. One, it would have been safe because of COVID, and two, they would have been able to control every sound coming out of that booth. And that's
You
really
should
what
be
they
on the
needed to do.
debate commission. That would have been a
Oh,
great
I'd have
idea.
knocked them right out. I
Yeah.
mean, I would have stopped and cut both microphones, said this debate's over,
Yeah.
period. No American people are going to see anything if you don't shut up and start doing what you're supposed to do. You know, it was ridiculous. It was a bad situation.
And I think that was the plan of action.
Well, I think the plan was this. Everyone says that's Trump and he was, you know, he went off the rails. I don't think he went off the rails.
No.
I think because they know Joe Biden has a stutter. And I have a friend who posted something about someone she loved that had a stutter. And she was saying that the playbook for stuttering is when they get stressed, when they get nervous, when you change subjects quickly, when they have to think quickly, that it can be difficult for them to process those words. And when you create stress and you create the type of attack and the type of switching gears that Trump was doing, that triggers stuttering. And I think they knew that, and I think it was a deliberate attempt to make Biden start to stutter so he would look senile.
Yes.
And, you know, and I think that's why they did it, if you want to know the truth. I think that was very deliberate, which
It
is why.
was.
Yeah.
And he did get upset. You see, especially when he brought up his children. My freaking
Oh,
God.
please, I
Jesus.
mean, and talk about
That would
children.
piss off
Trump's
anybody.
children are like, they're bleeding the country dry, they're stealing money, they're doing all kinds of stuff, you know, and it's
Then at the
okay.
end of the debate, they had the son on there. I thought, wow, he sounded like some drug dealer in New York
Oh, yeah,
City.
he does. He's terrible. He's bad. He actually sent a thing out to some of the supporters that are in those crazy fringe groups where he's got one of those assault rifles and stuff, and he says, get ready to go to the polls in March if they steal the
Oh, my
election. We're going to
freaking
call you into action. That's actually gone out to some of the militant groups.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, we are in the fight for our democracy, and if we don't win this, And there will be no more democracy because he is going to be a dictator and he is going to take it over. And there's no question about it. Look at that, there's people there. Hi. So I think we've got to vote. So you guys, I don't care what it takes, vote. I don't care if you have to stand in line and wait, put your mask on, vote. Don't care if you, you could mail it, but if you do, mail it quickly. Otherwise, take it to one of the drop boxes and drop it in there, unless you live in Texas, because they closed them all down except for like one.
Now,
in
let's
each
say
county.
he is sort of well and he's still going, and we could still vote for whoever we want, right?
Yeah.
And still vote him out, whether he's sick or.
Yeah, well, you got to vote about it. If he's sick like that, I mean, here's the reality of this: coronavirus leaves you disabled.
Right.
You do not come back from it the same as you did when you went into it if you are not in an extremely mild case. And even people with mild cases are coming out with heart problems and with other issues, but particularly heart issues. So if you're voting for him now after this, then you're voting for Pence, I think. But I shouldn't say that. But you don't come out of it completely intact. And some people come out with a little bit of dementia even because of the lack of oxygen to the brain. And if they're older, it affects them that way. And Trump is older, let's face it. He and Biden both are in the same generation. They would have been in the same high school together. He's always talking about how old Biden is, and it's like, but wait a minute, you guys are in the same.
Didn't me and
You're
you
like
go to
3 years apart.
Me and you went to separate high schools together.
Together, yeah, we did. We went to separate high schools together. And we dated separate people together. But anyway, so, there's a bunch of issues people have to think about. And the first thing is, though, let's hope he recovers.
You keep saying that.
Well, because we do have to.
Do you really mean that? Can you say that with a straight face? No smiling.
No, I can't. I can honestly say that with a straight face.
Straight face, Rhonda.
We need to. I worked on it. Well, let me tell you something.
I worked on it. I practiced.
I had to go from Thursday to like today almost and tell myself this isn't right. Don't feel that way. Don't feel that way. Want him to get better. Want him to get better.
Okay, practice. Let's see you say it.
I want him to get better.
Without smiling, there's no smirk on your face.
I want him to lose the election, not his life. No, I mean it.
I'm watching you so crap. You always leak. You always leak a little side there.
But no, I do mean that. I don't want anyone to die. That's a horrible thing to wish on somebody. I don't. I mean, you could say it fictitiously or something, but I don't wish that. I really do not. And that would be a horrible thing. And then you become like them. What happens is the thing you detest becomes you.
Yeah, and did you see that a while back there was a Simpsons, I think it was on Simpsons, where they had Trump in there and they showed him dying. Did you ever see that? And they were projecting that, and it's before this happened, but there is a whole little story of Simpsons, and they show him dying. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, it's been all
God,
over.
they better not put it on again.
Well, they have.
Oh my God.
They said, is it really going to become true? What it said.
That's horrible. That's horrible. They should. If I was a network,
but it was before.
I don't care. That's horrible. They should not have that on. They should not.
Well, no, they're not putting it on.
Okay, I was going to say that's bad.
They did it a long time ago. But now everybody's grabbing that because it's up on YouTube. I wonder if they're pulling it down
God,
or whatever.
I hope not. Oh.
But everybody's sharing it out there. Is it true what the Simpsons said? It's coming true.
Oh, God.
What if it does happen?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what would happen if he's incapacitated and can't run. I mean, literally, because he could be on
Does Pence run in his place?
No, that's not how it works.
How's it work?
Pence would be the president until he was better or not there. They have to go and have their caucus again, or their convention, and they have to vote and pick who the running person's going to be.
And they got to do it right away before the election.
And then they wouldn't have time to even put their name on the ballot. So people would have to vote for Trump, but they'd really be voting for that person, I think. I'm not really sure.
Nobody really knows.
That's never happened.
This has never happened.
I don't know if they postponed the election, but they'd have to reprint all the ballots, or people just have to write in the Republican candidate.
Yeah.
Probably be a write-in.
Yeah. And they'd say that.
But no, it doesn't fall. It's not like the president. Like when you're the president and something happens and you can't. Like if let's say he has to be unconscious for some reason, then Pence would be the acting president. That doesn't happen for the election. It's not the same. If Trump can't run, then they have to nominate another candidate, and then they would probably have to write him in. So that's the.
Hey, can we talk about the fundraisers you've been doing? You've been doing some really fabulous work out in the community. And I could see sometimes you even tell me, God, I'm exhausted. And I could feel your pain right through it, the text that you write. tell me, I mean, you've been doing a lot of.
We had a big fundraiser for Camp Wapi Api, and that's a free summer camp for children that have cancer, pediatric cancer, and their brothers and sisters. And this has been a real hard year to raise money. So if you, because obviously there are people who aren't working, there are people who maybe they still are working, but their kids aren't, so they're helping their children. There's businesses that are closed. So there's a lot of, it's really difficult to raise money this year.
That's
so,
what everybody's saying.
yeah.
It's hard to get things going. Some people are still doing their events, or they plan yearly of these events and they still go do them. But what I find interesting is that even though they do these events and stuff like that, I find that it's hard for them. They'll still put them on, but they're like only 1/3 full, or
Yeah, well, we did ours virtual, and so we didn't do it live, but we pre-recorded, and Denise Plant from The Bull did our voiceover work, so it was phenomenal. And we had the kids be the MC, so we had different kids come on and introduce different aspects of camp
oh, cool.
on a video, and then after that Denise came on and she would highlight one of the auction items. And we did pretty well, not like we do in person, but we did pretty well.
Yeah, and that's part of it.
But
you know,
we
sometimes
still need to raise
it's
some
the
more money.
things you do for the community in these hard times too. Now, all the airlines are now furloughing everybody now.
Yeah.
This is scary.
Not Frontier, they're not laying anybody off.
No, I thought it was.
Isn't that something? Our local Frontier is hanging in there.
Yeah, keep going. So it's incredible what there's going to be 120,000 people out of work.
Yeah, and I think people are afraid of that, and it's trepidation right now. We can't. The trepidation that's involved right now with everyone.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And even myself, I try to donate as much as I can to a few charities that I'm.
And in the station here.
And I've had to cut back a little because it's like
we've gotten really heavy into helping the food banks,
Mm-hmm.
and you've seen us do a lot of the food bank push, and even the big stations get involved with us to push Food Bank of the Rockies, which helps 3 other food banks, and we've been pushing all of them. So.
Well, food banks are great to give to right now. Also, food banks are wonderful. Of course, don't forget the homeless. I mean, their plight probably hasn't changed much. It still sucks.
And here's the thing, the only
One way or another.
thing I don't like about that one, I've been watching them go and kick the hell out of them and throw them out of everywhere. Now, to me, good politicians would come in there and find places for them to go camp out or move them somewhere instead of just kicking them out and throwing their stuff away.
We probably need to have some kind of a, for lack of a better word, an RV park.
Yeah, something
that where people could donate tents and they could donate their old RVs that they're not using anymore.
And have people go through there.
And then people could stay there, and they'd have running water, and they'd have restroom facilities and showers, and they could pitch their tent and stay there. But because I don't blame people. I mean, here's the hardcore reality of it. If I owned a business, I don't want somebody sleeping in front of the door of my business and pee in there and everything else.
And I say that too, but
get out.
But the way they were doing it is they were just doing sweeps and moving them and throwing their stuff away. It's they're already having hardships. Now you're throwing their few bags that they had left with a few clothes.
But you don't want them camping in front of your house or your business. And so, the government has got to figure out what to do with them because it's not going away. It's a problem that's been here.
It's even getting bigger.
Yeah, it's getting bigger. And now many people, when I did work for an organization that has supported homeless shelters and things like that. And some of them don't want to come in. They just don't. They don't want to do it. You could offer them a mansion. They'd be like, no, I don't want to.
Forget you. Yeah.
So it just depends. But certainly,
and some have drug problems. Some have alcohol.
Well, they all have mental problems. Nobody'd want to live in it like that.
And even not being homeless, I have mental problems.
Yeah, I mean, they all have issues.
And you agree.
Yes, I agree.
I agree.
But the whole thing is that we need to find a place where it's legal for them to camp and live. And I guess that's what we're going to have to look at. I mean, that's what I'd be looking at. Where can we find some ground that's we can build or put up temporary showers and toilets and safety measures and have,
all these different variables.
And let them camp there.
Now, here's another thing going on. There's a couple of doctors. They have doctor shows here, and they talk about the stresses, the emotions, and some people are having a lot of problem with depression. All these variables are going on because of the way they're having to live, and they can't go out, they can't go to football games, baseball, or
people are depressed.
And it's making this depression problem escalate because you can't even touch each other because you've got to stay 6 feet apart from each other. You can't even.
I know.
And humans have to, interact.
Well, you know, Henry, my daughter said, it was so funny, I was teasing her because we wanted, you know, she doesn't want to have children, and of course, you know, you want grandchildren, so we always tease her. And I said, well, accidents might happen, there's nothing else to do, you're stuck in the house. And she says, oh yeah, well, if I get a little, she said, I'll bring little Quarantina over for you to babysit.
Quarantina.
Little Quarantina. But
That's a cute name.
isn't that funny? But anyway, yeah, it's pretty, people's mental health is suffering a great deal right now, and because it is hard to not be connected or to distance all the time. And you can, I mean, I have seen people, but I'm just pretty smart about it, that's all. I mean,
and like you say, you know, the president really went extremely quick to appoint this person into the Supreme Court. To me, he should have acted that fast in finding help for the COVID.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
should have been moving like this.
Well, that's because it really was believed, or he knew it wasn't, but he encouraged people to believe it was a hoax. He encouraged people to not, gave enough disinformation out that people don't believe the scientists, and he discouraged the wearing of masks. He made it sound like you're weak if you wear one. When he make fun, remember when he made fun of?
I remember that. Yeah.
So you know, it is what it is. Remember when he said that? Well, it is what it is. When he's talking about 200 dead. It is what it is.
COVID, right?
But you know, and so the reality is that it can hit anybody. It doesn't matter. I mean, look how isolated and insulated, I should say. Look how insulated the president is. There are people around him all the time. They test him all the time. But yet, guess what? He's got it, and he might die from it. He's old and he's out of shape, and he's, you know.
There was one gal that brought it to him, didn't she? She was around him quite a bit.
Hope Hicks or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to me, and they said that she had it, and to me, she was around him quite a bit. I think she's the one who infected him.
Well, who knows? I mean, it could have been anybody, because it goes around all the time, you know, and it's everywhere. And if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time next to the wrong person, you're going to get it. So you got to be careful, you know. And
it had to be a person because they wiped down everything for him, right?
I would assume so, but I mean, you know, he meets a lot of people, and he
wasn't covering himself.
And he has, being a narcissist, he has a firm belief that nothing can happen to him, that he's superior, that he's this, you know, right? He's got that, he acts like that when he holds his head up, and, you know, and so he's got an inherent belief that he's better than everybody else, and he's special, and special people and better people don't get it.
That's right.
So, you know, but so it happened. And in one way, this may be good, because maybe all the people that kind of followed along that path and went down that rabbit hole with him might realize that, oh, maybe I better start wearing a mask. This ain't too good. Because if he can get it, let me tell you something, people. If he can get it, anybody can get it.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, because he's the most protected person on the planet.
And I thought of that, you know, because if they say he got it, now everybody's saying it could be he's just using this as a ploy.
Well, I've heard that. A lot of people think it's...
A lot of people.
Well, I said that earlier. I said he'll be in the hospital 3 days. He'll be like Christ. He died for 3 days, and then he came back, and now he'll be a real second coming, because that's what they think about him anyway, right? I mean, they all think he's a second coming of Christ, for God's sake. So maybe he'll die and come back. That's the big surprise, the October surprise. Guess what?
And when you got time, after we're off the show, whenever later on, look up The Simpsons, and when Trump's in there and they show
God.
he died, it's like, it's interesting.
But, I mean, you know, who knows? But it could be. I mean, the problem is that the fact that anybody, enough people would even question the fact that, is this a hoax or not, in terms of the president getting it, they wonder, maybe he's just doing this as a ploy.
Because, like you said, he's so watched over, the doctors are always around him.
The fact that people even think that tells you how dishonest this man is, that people have to think that.
Like,
wait a minute. You know, wait a minute.
Everybody did that. Everybody sat back, wait a minute.
Oh, please, I have people I know that swear to God, this is a whole fake thing, just make people feel sorry for him and get him from talking about how bad he did at the debate. And then he'll come back in 3 days and
the taxes.
Again. And the taxes and all that other stuff.
And how much money he owes.
$750 in taxes, my God.
And he owes $421 million to whom?
Yeah, we'd like to know that, wouldn't we? That's the $1 million question, you know?
I think it's to Russian banks. Because he's got a lot of hotels in Russia.
Could be to a lot of different things, who knows? But, and the point is that that's why they have to disclose. And there needs to be a law that says before you are even able to enter your name in the arena, you have to enter your financial information.
Everything, yes.
Period, end of statement, everything. Complete financial disclosures.
How did he get past everything?
He didn't do it. I mean, people just let him get away with anything. It's like, you know, if Obama went out and he had accidentally had on one blue sock and one black sock, they would have gone and
they would have impeached him.
Impeached him, yeah. And this guy though can do anything he wants, and you know, anything he wants, and it doesn't matter. Nope, I'm not showing my taxes. Okay, I'm not doing this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna appoint this person. Oh, I like the fake executive orders.
Oh, yeah.
Those are my favorite ones. And my favorite one was the birth one that he just did, the live birth one.
Oh, yeah.
Live. That's already a law. That's already a law on our books. It was passed in 2004. The exact same thing that he wrote in the executive order is a law.
Wow.
Okay? It was passed under another president back in 2004. And he's done that on 2 or 3 executive orders. And what he's done is several of those executive orders that people love, and he goes, they're already laws that have been passed by previous presidents, and he's just rewriting them on there and making people think he did it.
Yes.
But he didn't.
Now, okay, so we're in 2020. I'm sure 2020 has been crazy for you as it been for
God.
everybody else.
Yes.
We're going to have a grand finale. What would you say it's going to be, Rhonda?
Well, let's.
What the F?
Well, let's. I think the flying monkeys from Wizard of Oz. I'm putting my money on that. I mean, God, what have we not had?
Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
Jeez.
I mean, everything. I mean, I've been through a crazy 2020. This has been the most craziest year I've ever.
Well, and
lived.
people have trouble sleeping, and they're stressed out because it's scary right now, and so that's it's hard. Just realize that we're going to get through this, and even if the worst thing happens in the whole world, which would be Trump is reelected, not eventually we'll get through it, because there is not a majority of people that support this man.
No, and everybody
and
knows.
As our country ages, and the young people register to vote, and the older people who are Republicans are typically older start dying, by the next 4 years, we don't have to worry about this kind of thing ever again, because there'll be too many more people that are have a heart and have an understanding and have a compassion and want to shape the country in a way that's going forward, not a way that's going backwards.
And they'll make it the more complex the society, the more complex the laws to govern this kind of thing.
Because we have a more complex society than we did. And and one of the best jokes I saw was this year when you set your clock back, it's going back to 1950.
And just forget it.
Because that's what they're trying to do to us.
That's right.
And
especially with this new appointee of this gal.
Oh, she's terrible. Yeah.
And didn't she say, and I'm sure, I was reading all this stuff, and I'm not sure if it's real, but she says women should not own a home or try to sell or do without a man or something.
Oh, yeah, she's...
Is that fake? Is that real?
No, she's part of a cult. She's not really part of the Catholic faith. It's a cult. And it's kind of a cross between the Protestant tongue talker people, those kind of people, and the Catholic Church. So it's a very
so it's true what she says that
that cult believes in a lot of things, and they've taken her name off of many things and taken it down because people would get upset. But it believes in
what made him appoint her though?
There's that Federalist Society, that and they get together and they list all the judges. It's very, very conservative, and they list them all and they give them a list and they say, here's who we want you to appoint.
And how do they just go look at their?
Well, they look at their voting record, they look at their background, they look at what they stand for, they look at if they're they're faith-based or not.
To me, I don't see how they can even have the word judge on them, and I don't think people can judge anybody or anything.
Well,
it's like, okay,
justice is what they are.
They say this. But now check it out. You go run a stop sign and everything. You get a ticket. You go in front of the judge. He wasn't there. How could he judge or determine? Oh well, it said here with a police officer. Well, so.
Well,
how could they judge?
Somebody has to judge.
No, they don't have no right to judge you. They weren't there.
But somebody other than the police would judge you because they weren't. That'd be worse. Okay.
Shoot you right there.
Okay, done. You're done.
They're doing that now.
You need a judge. You need a judge. Trust me. And we need a balance. We need, nobody has to be. I'm not saying you have to be liberal.
Yeah.
But I think that they shouldn't ever put anybody who's far right or far left on the court.
This is what I'm saying.
It should be more. Or I have one far left, one far right, and the rest are kind of.
But I don't understand that far right or far left thing. They say these things, but to me, it's just the way of thinking, right? It's not really far left or far right. Or
well, it just depends. What I mean is that if someone has come out and
out
like this woman, like this woman, and is clearly said that she believes that the judgment and her job is she uses her religious values and her religious beliefs to incorporate those into her judgment, then that's wrong. Because we are not a country that is one religion. We are not a country that's based on that, and we shouldn't be.
Right.
Because that's what happens when you see Sharia law.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very little difference between the far alt-right Christians and the fundamentalist Muslims.
That's right.
Okay,
yes.
the God they worship is different, but their tactics are exactly the same.
Yes.
They're running around with machine guns, holding a Bible. They're running around with, that's not Christianity. And anybody that's a good Christian knows that. That's
And
not
there
right.
was a Native American chief that came out and said that everybody worships this God, that God, this God, that, but they're all the same more or less. Is that true?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I can't say that. I do know this, that I know that if you are someone like I am, who believes in Jesus, and I do, and I believe he was God, you should listen to his teachings. And his teachings clearly say you take care of the poor, you feed the hungry, you clothe them, you share your wealth, and how about this one? You're not supposed to give false witness. What do you think Trump does every day against those people? He gives false witness every single day. Those are the things that they say not to do, right? And you should try to live that way. Jesus was very community-minded. Whether you think of him as a man or a God, irrelevant. His teachings are completely and totally community-oriented. You help your neighbor. You don't put them in a cage because they're from another country. You don't and let their children sleep on those hard floors. No one could.
And nothing's being said about it.
Yeah, no one does that has
they
any
have
kind
COVID
of
and
a
stuff.
compassionate heart.
Mhm.
And if you think that it's right to do that,
And
you
then-
don't have a heart.
and then-
You don't have a heart. You really don't.
And then blame the other
Yeah.
people, the Obama people, for doing that.
And I don't care who does it. I don't care if Obama did it. I don't care if Trump did it. I don't care
Mhm.
if Abraham Lincoln did it. You do not do that to human beings. You
That's
find a
right.
way to solve that.
That's
That's number one. You clothe people. You don't look down on people for their bad luck. And no child is ever born, I don't believe, that says, when I grow up, I'd like to be hungry, cold, have snot running down my face, and sleep in shitty pants on a street, and have people scorn me for my life. That's my plan, teacher.
Because
that's what I'm going to do when I
you're
grow
from
up.
another country.
Yeah, no one wants that. And it's time we start realizing that we don't live in a small, we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And as societies get bigger, we have to figure out what to do with those people who can't keep up.
And they don't have nothing in place, that's the thing. It
Yeah.
got so big too quickly where they don't have nowhere to put people who are homeless or struggling.
Mhm.
Now here's the thing that I've always thought was interesting. All these plants that, these meat packing plants, they have all this COVID and they're not supporting them. They say it's not covered under your plan. Now they go raid these meat packing plants, ICE goes and raids them.
Mhm.
Why do they go raid these places where people are working and say, oh, they're just living off of our taxes, living off.
Well, they're paying taxes if they're working there.
Yeah, but they're over
Yeah.
there raiding
I know.
people who are working.
But they're also paying taxes.
Yeah.
I mean, if they've got a job at a regular company, and I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying I support people to be here when they shouldn't be, but if they have a job with a company, whether they're using their social security number or somebody else's, they're paying taxes.
And that's
And
what I'm
taxes
saying.
they're never gonna claim.
They go raid these places
Yeah.
and find out like 60, 70, 80% of them are here legally. They
Yeah.
even live here. They're part of this United
Yep.
States of America. They're U.S. citizens, but because they have these names,
Yeah.
they pull them out of work and expose them to all these,
Oh, yeah. Terrible things.
Terrible things. And
And I'm not saying that I believe in open borders, I don't.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do believe that there's ways to handle it. One way to handle it is, how about looking at why? And I don't call it immigration, I call it migration, because it's going on all over the world. We're seeing the biggest migration of humans since the Ice Age.
wow.
Okay? I mean, people are just going everywhere because it's not livable anymore. And as our planet continues to have climate change, another bad word according to Republicans, but as our planet starts to have climate change, we're going to see more migration of animals, of people. And where are they going to go? Well, they're all going to go to the places that are more fertile.
And where it's
And where there's more
livable.
money, and fertile by that, whether it's fertile by soil, or fertile by money, or fertile by compassion, whatever that might be.
We're the only animals on Earth that have to pay to live here.
Yeah, I know. Everybody else doesn't have to pay, they just go where they want. But, so we're gonna be facing this issue more and more and more. And so what are we gonna do about it? Well, one thing is, if they're fleeing because of the drug lords and the problems that we see in South America, then instead of spending billions of dollars on things that are ridiculous, like studying moose snot, I mean, seriously, let's go down to those countries and let's help them build a country that their people would want to stay in.
Right.
That's how you stop
actually, they're
it.
going to other countries and destroying them and taking over their resources and stuff. That's what they're actually doing.
Yeah, and so we've got to go there and help where the root of the problem is.
It's got to do with the leadership.
Yes.
And if the leadership doesn't do that, they're out just for the resources to, wreck their countries and put in leaders of their own to take over.
If we continue on the path of only thinking of ourselves, nationalists, that's what it is right now.
Yeah.
There's no Republican Party, it's a nationalist party, nationalist Republican Party. If we continue on a nationalist platform and party, we're going to face a lot of problems because we can't do it alone, folks. We don't live in an isolated world. And if we're just taking care of this and we're doing fine and all these people around us aren't, they're going to come in. And they're going to come in no matter what you do, and they're going to take it. So let's help get people in a position where they can stay in the home that they probably love, in a country they most likely love, but they can't live there because it's too harsh.
What the frogs?
You know? That's right, with the frogs. With the fire truck.
Where's the food?
And so, no, we don't want open borders, but we do want to have compassionate heart. And we do want to not villainize these people. I mean, when you hear the president and others and his minions and people who support him talk about immigrants the way that they talk, it's ridiculous. It's terrible. These are mostly good people. They are Christian people. Those countries are Catholic countries. They're Christians, folks. And it's mostly these Christian, right-wing Christians that are complaining about them. You know, it's like, wait a minute.
Something's wrong with this picture.
There's just something not right.
Yeah,
You know,
this is
here.
crazy.
You know?
And now that the election, we're only only about 28 days, maybe 30 days away from the election. And I think it's going to be okay, and I think that change is coming.
Oh yeah, change is definitely
Change
coming.
is coming.
Change is in the wind. It's coming.
And even if Biden stays in it for a bit, or however this works, I just hope it's for the better.
Well, I think that change is coming, and it's definitely coming because if you look at the millennials and what they want, it's their country. It's not our country anymore. Henry, we're old. Let's face it.
I'm not.
You know, yeah. I mean,
What gave you that idea?
you know, it's for that generation to choose the kind of America they want to live in. It's not for a bunch of old people, you know, to go, well, I think you should do it this way. You know, we're not the ones that are going to live here. We're not the ones that are going to live through climate change. We're not the ones that are going to live through all of the craziness that's going on out there.
Nobody,
They are.
we don't know our mortality, but we know it's close.
Yeah. You know, and they have a right to pick the kind of world, and they want a kinder, gentler world. That's what they're saying.
That's right.
They're saying we want a kinder world. We want a gentler world. We want a world where people don't have to lay in the streets. We want a world where people can afford to go to a doctor.
And
we want a
everybody
world.
can eat.
That's not socialism. That's compassion.
That's right.
You know, that's the
Why did they
compassion
come
of
up with this
Christ,
word
really.
socialism, like it's bad or something? They try to make that word bad.
Well, first of all, they don't know what they're talking about. If you ask somebody to describe socialism, and which type of socialism, because there's Marxism,
That's right.
there's
All the
Lenin,
isms.
there's Marx, there's all kinds of versions of it. And 99% of the people, if you said, okay, give me the principles of socialism,
They have
and
no
which
clue.
type, and make sure you identify which type of the 3 socialist platforms there are. They can't do it.
They have
They
no
can't
clue.
do it. They don't know the difference. They don't know the difference between communism, socialism, or democratic social programs, which is
That's
what
right.
we're talking about. It's a democracy that takes care of its people.
That's right.
It's a democracy that provides, you know, police departments and provides Social Security.
That's right.
And provides Medicare for the elderly and provides schools.
Now,
and,
that was on the...
and public safety. That's all social programs. That doesn't mean we're a socialist.
And that was on the benchmark. Trump said he may cut or get into the Social Security or the other stuff. I thought, huh?
Oh, yeah, he's going to cut. So yeah,
Oh, Jesus.
that's going to throw so many people out in the streets. But,
But
you know why?
they
You know
has
why
no
he
right.
wants to do that? It's the matching. Okay, now everything he does relates to him. His company, when you pay into Social Security, your 7.5% or whatever it is, the company matches that. So if he can get rid of the tax,
yeah.
right, which is what he's done, he's suspended that tax right now. If he can get rid of the payroll tax for that, then he immediately makes 7.5% more in his operation, just like that.
Yes. And
Now, that's
a lot
why
of
they're
money.
doing it, and that's a
Because-
lot of money in those big companies, and
Yeah.
that's why they're doing it. It's got nothing to do with
With you
anything
and
other
me
than
or
that.
nothing like
And
that.
Social Security is fine if they quit taking the money out of it and using it for other things.
Yeah, that's why he's suspended. Now it's suspended, but you still got to pay it back when you come back around. You
Yeah,
gotta pay back.
unless, yeah, and he's saying you won't if you elect him, because, you know, that's another thing. Oh, if you don't elect me, you're gonna owe a couple $1,000. You know, it's like, oh.
A couple of $1,000.
Whatever. But, you know, the social programs are there for the good of society. Roads, streets, lights, electricity,
Yeah.
the infrastructure of the country, all those were built, and they're all built with social programs. That doesn't mean we're socialists. And I am so tired of hearing the ignorant people that go, it's socialism. It's like, okay, define it, because it's not, you know? And I start calling them on the carpet. I'm like, okay, what kind? Is it Marxism, or is it traditional socialism? Is it, you know, go ahead. And they can't open their mouth when you ask them.
They have no clue.
Because they don't really know. They're just parroting what they've heard. You know.
And that's a good word when you say parroting, because I see a lot of
And
that.
speaking of that, we've only got a little bit left.
And I was
So
looking
I
at
gotta
that,
tell
yeah.
you my fake news funny story for the
Okay.
day. Okay, so fake news. There's a zoo in London, okay, has 200 gray parrots. You know those smart gray parrots? 200 of them, 200 gray parrots. And they brought in 5 new parrots, and for some reason, in each of these 5 parrots, new cuss words. And they started teaching them to each other and egging each other on. So when they would put them out and outside, and usually birds are quiet, but they transfer them out to their outdoor they don't usually talk too much. They start cussing like sailors. And so people are going by, and they go, look at the bird, and the bird says, F you, and the other one says something back, and the other one says something back. So all 5 of them were working around cuss words and cussing out when people would talk to them. And they literally had to take the 5 birds and put them in 5 different parts of the zoo, so they would quit egging each other on to tell the zoo goers to F off. I said, I want to go to that zoo.
Oh my God.
Isn't that funny?
Was that real?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's a true story.
Absolutely true. And
Oh my
that was
gosh.
that was my favorite fake news story of the week. I went, oh my God, I want to go to that zoo. Can you imagine? You got your 3-year-old.
That is so cool.
And the bird goes, F you. F you. F you.
There was there was a parrot that was yelling and screaming next door, and the guy was working on his car or something. And the cops came over there, and they thought that he was doing something. So he goes, "Oh no, that's my parrot inside." So they made him go inside and show him the parrot.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, that was
my
hilarious.
God. There was another thing in the news this week in the oddities section was there was 2 hockey fans. He was having a little party. This guy was having a party at his apartment for one of the teams that's playing in the playoffs for the Stanley Cup. And the guys in the house were yelling, shoot, shoot, shoot. And this lady that lived down the hall thought something was wrong, called the police. They showed up, they're all yelling, shoot.
It's like the parrot, like,
Yeah.
and that's what happens. It's like so funny when that happens. And everybody like says, well, that's my parrot. And he says, your parrot?
Well,
Would you like to have a parrot like that?
My husband has the funniest sales story about a parrot like that. He was in Brazil because he did business. He traveled around the world and did business, and he was in a, I think it might have been Brazil. No, that was a spider that fell on him. A giant spider this big. He screamed like a girl, and they laughed for a week. But no, he was somewhere else. I can't remember. It might have been in Texas. And he was on a sales call at this beverage place, and they had a big Amazon parrot in a cage. And he goes, and he's looking at the parrot, and the guy said, "Oh, I inherited. My aunt died." And my husband's doing a sales presentation, and he's starting to talk, and then he hears the bird outside there going, F you! Shut up! You SOB! And the bird is like, and every time he'd start to do his presentation, the bird would yell, F you! F you! F you! And he's like, and the guy goes, I'm really sorry. He said he didn't cuss at all till we put him outside the driver's room. When I got him, I put him here in the building and put him outside the driver's room, and he cusses up a storm.
It's
He
so
goes,
cute that some of those parrots can get
yeah, he
there.
goes, it was the worst sales call I ever made. Every time I open my mouth, the bird would yell.
F you! That's so cool.
I know, but yeah, that was pretty funny. But when he went to Brazil, he was in the Coke plant there, and the Coca-Cola plant, not a Coke plant. And
Yeah, right.
and he was standing there, and one of those big bird-eating tarantula things came down. It was like the size of his face, and it came down a thing, and he didn't see it, and he turned around, and there it was. And I mean, my husband's a big man. You've seen him, right?
Yeah.
I guess his feet went 3 feet off the ground. He backed up, and he was screaming like a girl, and he looks over, and all the guys working in the plant were laughing, and they were calling him names, and he didn't know what they were saying because it was in Spanish, but they probably call him sissy. You know? So yeah, he's had some fun stories like that. And that is it, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, let's just shut that down.
Yes, thank you.
So we don't have our next show coming up.
And there you go. We can call it a day if you
Yeah.
like, Rhonda.
Well, it was fun today. Again, I do want all of us to try to keep, and I know it's hard, but we have to do the right thing, not the wrong thing. So I want everyone to keep our president, the first lady, and all those people, we don't necessarily like them, but we want to keep them in our thoughts and wish that they get better. And you take care. I'll see you